Okay, and welcome back. We are now going to look at what the Antichrist is going to do according to Daniel chapter 11. First, I want to start by saying that I think that this passage is talking about the Antichrist from verse 21 all the way to verse 45. However, some people would say that it picks up at verse 29 and then through 45, talking about the Antichrist. Regardless, I am just going to start and pick up at the middle of verse 30 and do some description, and then we'll do some reading. Okay. If you want more information, just read the entire section for more details. Okay, so what the Antichrist is going to do is he is going to use flattery, and he's going to show favor to the people who abandon the Holy Covenant. He is then with his forces, so he's not going to do it alone. The abomination of desolation won't be set up by the Antichrist alone. He's going to have the help of his forces. He is going to desecrate the temple fortress, abolish the regular sacrifice, and set up the abomination of desolation. This sounds familiar with what we just learned in Daniel chapter 7, 8, and 9. Okay. So we see a very different thing, or not necessarily different, but just something we haven't seen before that adds some very important details as to how the Christians will be behaving at this time here in Daniel chapter 11. It says in verse 32, "But the people who know their God will be strong and take action. Those who have insight among the people will give understanding to many." Okay, so there is going to be 3 different groups. 2 are mentioned here. There are going to be people who don't have understanding that are believers, and there are going to be those that do have insight and understanding and that give understanding to the other believers so that now they become believers with understanding. Together, they will take action around this time period. Now, let's keep reading and we'll find out what the third category of people are. "Yet they will fall by the sword and flame and will be captured and plundered for a time. When they fall, they will be helped by some, but many others will join them insincerely." Okay, so this is our third category. There is a group of people that will not be true believers, that will join the believers in some sort of action, but they will be insincere. I don't know for sure, but I would think this leads to betrayal, because right at this time we see that there is plundering and of the saints, killing of the saints by sword and flame, and capturing of the saints. Let's keep reading in 35. "Some of those who have insight will fall so that they may be refined, purified, and cleansed until the time of the end. For it will still come at the appointed time." So this is close to the end, but it's not the very end yet. This is after the abomination of desolation, or right around that time. However, Jesus, the Ancient of Days, has not come back yet. Okay, so let's remember that and keep that in mind, because we're going to look in Daniel chapter 12, and it's going to give us quite a bit more detail about these believers with insight and understanding. Okay, but for now, let's go back to what the Antichrist will be doing in verse 36. "Then the king will do whatever he wants." The king is the Antichrist. That's already been established. "The king will do whatever he wants. He will exalt and magnify himself above every god." Sounds exactly like the other chapters we've looked at. "He will say outrageous things against the God of gods. He will be successful until the time of wrath is completed, because what has been decreed will be accomplished." Now, let's look at something else about the Antichrist. "He will not regard the gods of his fathers, the God desired by women, or for any other god, but will magnify himself above all. Instead, he will honor a God of fortresses, a God his fathers did not know, with gold, silver, precious stones, and riches. And then it goes on. I would encourage you to read yourself for even more details. But I want to bring attention to the last verse, verse 45, where the Antichrist will meet his end. He will pitch his royal tent between the sea and the beautiful holy mountain, but he will meet his end with no one to help him. Okay, that concludes what Daniel chapter 11 says about the Antichrist.